is something very important to have our kids being part of our church. We want them to be in a different world. This is not their world. We need to make this something more for them, include them, make them part of this. Let me share with you a story before I jump into the Bible verse. January 3rd, my father, some of you know my father. My father is a pastor as well. He was invited to record an evangelistic series in Kiev, Ukraine. So he went. After the second day, he starts to feel sick. And I'm sure my father is watching right now. My father is a good father, a great pastor, but he's a workaholic. So he thought, you know what? I'm here. I came here anyway. So he pushed for an extra. So he called for some help, and they came to check his oxygen levels. But at that time, they already knew that he was positive for COVID. And his oxygen levels were around 81, 82. That was not good. So he moved him to our Adventist clinic in Kiev. We have an Adventist clinic there. He stayed there for a week. After a week, me and my brothers, we got together and we decided one of us needs to go there. And thank God we have an administration like we have here in the Illinois Conference. Pastor Aguilera told me, dude, go. Go rescue your father. You need to go. So my administration gave me all the support. I told my brothers, I'm ready to go. I went to Ukraine. And when I got to the clinic, I see my father. He was not in a good shape. So we start to talk and try to find a solution for the whole problem. But one string of my feelings guitar start to play constantly. It's the string of fear. My father is a strong man. He wasn't able to go to the restroom by himself. Fear started to take care of my heart. Say, man, I'm going to lose my father in Ukraine. By the end of the first week, the physician in charge of my father went on vacation. And they brought a new person. And this person who came, he had no idea who Alejandro Bullon is. So he saw my father and said, this man cannot be here. He is dying. We need to move this man to a hospital. And they moved my father immediately to one of the major hospitals in Kiev. And when we got there, he was admitted to the intensive care unit immediately. And the physician could to try to explain it to me in their limited English. My English is limited. Their English was very complicated. And they said, you cannot see your father anymore. You're not allowed there anymore. The next day, I came back to the hospital. And I was about to kneel in front of the physician. Please let me see my father for at least 2 minutes. What I didn't know is that during the night, the director of the hospital, he Googled my father. Because it's not common to have a Hispanic person in Kiev. Yes, we Hispanics, we are all over the place, you know? But not in Kiev, not in Ukraine. So he Googled, who is this person? And if you Google my father, you're going to see all sorts of articles and pictures and videos. My father has over 1.3 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, his name Pops. So the director called the medical staff and said, look, we cannot have this person dying here. You need to do whatever it takes to heal and fix this person. They don't know who Seventh-day Adventist is. They don't know what this means. They only know that there is a foreigner who is somewhere well known. There is in our hospital, is dying. Fix this. So the physician, Dr. Katerina, he said, oh, his son is here, and he's asking permission to see his father. We told him that we cannot give him that permission. And the director said, give him 2 minutes. Dress him up. Clean him up. I was never as clean as I was there. So when I entered the hospital, I saw my father in a very bad shape, with all sorts of masks. He wasn't able to say anything. I'm sure he will complain about something. My father prayed for me my entire life. But that moment was my turn to pray for him. I couldn't hold his hand. I couldn't kiss his face. I grabbed his feet on top of the blanket. And I lay my head and pray for him. When I walked out of the hospital, I sat on this freezing cold from Ukraine. And I started to cry. Because for the first time, I realized that I was about to lose my father. And I know my father is not young. I know he eventually going to rest. He telling me, I'm not afraid to die. I say, yeah, I know. I know he will die eventually. But not in that situation. Not away from my mom. Not in a country where nobody can explain me a thing. My heart was possessed by fear. I was scared. Nobody could understand me. I don't speak Ukrainian. Those were horrible days for me and my family. I spent another week. I came back. My brother went up there. Another 2 weeks, he came back. I went up there. Oh, yes. And there were rumors of war. Rumors of war. That was stressful. Friday, February 11th, I saw my father walking out from the hospital. And our trip took all week long. We flew to Warsaw. Then we flew to Lisbon and spent 2 days because, you're in Lisbon, you need to get some bacalhau. Come on, we are sick, but we're not dead. Then 9.5 hours flight to Brazil with the oxygen machine working. Every 30 minutes checking on his oxygen levels. Are you all feeling okay? Yeah, I'm good. And I know if my father is okay when he starts to ask me for bills. Hey, have you paid everything? Say, yes, okay, he's good, Lord, thank you. I had beautiful moments in my life, but one of the most beautiful moments of my life was when we left and my mother was outside, ready to hug my father. That was one of the most beautiful hugs I ever saw in my life. He's safe in Brazil. Then war started in Kiev. I can imagine the fear. But you know what? That's not something that I live by myself. Every single one of us here this morning, we're in some sort of war. Every single one of us here this morning, we are facing some sort of fear. And you know what I'm talking about. Maybe I don't know your life, but I know that you're facing some sort of fear in your life. And sometimes that fear doesn't allow you to move ahead. You're stuck because you don't know what comes next. You don't know what to do. You spend hours and hours rolling in your bed asking, Lord, what am I going to do with these bills? What I'm going to do to save my marriage? What is the answer for my kids? What is the answer in my job? I don't know. Fear paralyzed us, stuck us, doesn't allow us to move. We are worried about the war in Ukraine, but nobody have an idea about the war that you're having right now. So come with me to the biblical times. One day God told the people, hey, exile is over. It's time to go back. It's time to go back to Jerusalem. It's time to rebuild Jerusalem. The problem is, by the tradition, crossing the desert back to Jerusalem was not a good thing. Last time they crossed the desert, they faced snakes, right? They had to deal with war. Last time they crossed the desert, many of them died. Last time they crossed the desert, they had to eat quesadillas for 40 years. Come on, quesadilla one day, good. Quesadillas 40 years, When I got to Ukraine, I was watching a TV show 2 weeks before my trip over there, and I saw that in Georgia, they have a dish called khachapuri. So when I get to Ukraine, I ask, hey, there is khachapuri around? Say, yeah, over there. And I eat khachapuri every single day. That was too much. It's delicious for 2 or 3 days. But that was the only thing I knew how to order. The lady looked at me, khachapuri? Yes. I'm assuming that she knows what yes means. So the people were afraid of taking the trip from the exile to Jerusalem, because there was the desert. Not only that, the life in exile was not as bad as we think. It was not Egypt. It was a different way of slavery. They were receiving salaries. They had nice houses. They're going to abandon everything to get back to the uncertainty of Jerusalem? What if I never find my family again? What if things doesn't work in Jerusalem as they are working here in my new city? So the string of fear was playing hard in their lives like it's in ours. So God called Isaiah. Isaiah or Isaiah? Isaiah. This one here, my daughter here, she mocks me. That one corrects me. She makes money because every time I have to preach in English, I gave her $20 to take note of my mistakes. She's a rich kid now. Isaiah 43. Please take a look. Isaiah 43 is God answering the people. Now, this is the beauty of the book of Isaiah. The first 39 chapters is about history. The last 26 chapters is about prophecy. That's why many scholars, they have difficulty to understand that it's the same Isaiah writing both parts. That's why a lot of commenters, they choose to believe there are two Isaiahs. Because it's different. From chapter 39 to chapter 40, there's a huge difference. There's a gap of time. Humanly, it's impossible to have the same person writing both. But nothing in the Bible is human. So God showed this to Isaiah in a beautiful way. So he wrote that to the people coming back from the exile to Jerusalem. Chapter 43, verse 1 says, "But now, this is what the Lord said, who created you, Jacob, who formed you, Israel." And this is the message. "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine." The message that God has for the people who are right now. Don't you trust me? The only reason to fear the future is when we forgot our past. If we look to our past, we will see Jesus God leading the way. We are here because God is leading us. So there is no reason for fear. There is no reason to be afraid. Oh yeah, there is war all over the place. There's a moral war that we are living in this country. Yes, we are dealing with this. But we don't need to be afraid of those things. So the other day somebody told me like this, Pastor, okay, I'll try to believe you, but you don't know how my life is. You have no idea what I'm dealing with. I lose my job. I lose my family. Nobody knows how sick I am. I just received news from a close person from my family fighting for his life in the hospital. Good person, great missionary, great worker, preaching all over the place, a lay person who brought to church, to Christ, many thousands of people. Another one is sick and doesn't want to tell anybody how sick he is. So one can believe like this, Pastor, if you knew what has actually happened to me, if you knew what is actually is going in my life, if you have an idea of what I'm going through, I don't think you're going to tell me to not be afraid. And look, I don't know you. I'm not able to memorize your name. That doesn't mean that I know you. To know you're going to take several meals. I was telling this to somebody right now. That's why you see Jesus eating all the time with people. And that's the reason why he was walking all the time, to cut all the carbs. Otherwise, Jesus is going to be like Buddha. I don't know you. But I know you have these questions. Pastor, that's a beautiful speech, but do you have any idea how my life is? Okay. One person told me like this. Give me one reason, Pastor. Give me one good reason to not be afraid. One. I'm going to use these verse that we just passed through, and I'm going to give you 4 reasons. God will never ask you to do something without giving you a good reason to do this something. And the reasons to not be afraid, they're right here. Reason number 1. But now, this is what the Lord says, who created you, Jacob. And this is the first reason. First reason to not be afraid is God is our creator. What does that mean? It means that he knows everything about us. He knows what it hurts. He knows what to fix. He knows what to work with. He knows every single small detail of our marriage, for example. He knows every single detail of our character. Oh, the character. That is the biggest war we're fighting. And we're going to fight this war forever. Try to understand this. I have my phone here with me. I just got a text from my daughter. Dad, where are you? I'm here. Let's imagine that I'm preaching with my phone. And accidentally, like my little one likes to say, accidentally, I drop this. And breaks. It's broke now. Where's my friend Kenneth? Kenneth is a good pastor. He's a good friend. He needs to improve his taste on some restaurants, but he's a good man. Right, Zach? Yes. So I asked Kenneth, can you help me to fix the cell phone? I mean, Kenneth is bright, smart, but he can't help me. So here's Mr. Daniel, good musician. I asked him, hey, man, you know everything about instruments. Can you help me? There's Mr. Svarcharov right there, fighting the same war. So I asked him, because he's a very smart person. That's my friend Mike over there. Hey, can you help me? They can try. But then I get the phone, and I go to the Apple store. Question, are they able to fix my phone? Yes or no? Why? Because I get Apple Care? No. Because they made the phone. So because they made it, they know every single aspect of that. They know how to fix it. They know all the cables. They know all the details. They know all the screens. They know every single, and they have the tools to fix every single aspect of that. That's the beauty of knowing that Jesus, that God is our creator. He knows every single aspect, even the aspects that we fight hard to hide from everybody. God knows that. And He not only wants to fix that, He has the tools to fix that. He wants to change that in our lives. That's why He's saying, don't be afraid about your marriage. I can fix that. Don't be afraid of your character. I can fix that. I am your creator. Don't be afraid. Reason number 2. I have redeemed you. I have redeemed you. You know what redeems means? Redeem is when somebody pay for your bill. I was working in Brazil. And we had this big event for the conference. So I asked a couple of kids from the church, hey, come with me, let's help me to build the whole scenario, the whole stage. I'm gonna pay you something. So we got like 5 kids, and they worked hard with me all morning. The program was scheduled to start by 2 o'clock. By 11:30 in the morning, 12, we were done. So I told them, hey, you know what? Let's grab a bite. So we went to a restaurant, nice burger with the kids, you know. Those kids eat like, wow, they're teenagers. So when I checked the clock, I was running out of time. So I told one of them, look, here's my credit card. I won't do that. Here's my credit card. Pay for the whole thing. Bring me the receipt. Okay? Okay, Pastor, we'll do that. After the program was done, I got one of the kids say, hey, my card and the receipt. Oh, Pastor, here's your card. And the receipt? Say, there's no receipt. Say, dude, I told you to get the receipt. Say, yeah, Pastor, I don't have the receipt. I'm sorry. So what happened? Say, when I asked for the bill, I asked for the check. The waiter told me, you're good to go. There's nothing to pay for. Say, how? Somebody pay for it. Say, no. Pastor told me to pay. Here's the card. I want to pay it. Say, yes, I understand, but it's already paid. Say, sir, look, I have to pay for this. It's like crazy people talking. I have to pay for this. So the waiter got close to him and said, yeah, I understand, but somebody already paid for it, and it was not the pastor. So they were looking to each other like, what's going on here? And the waiter, in a very discreet way, he did like this. I a church member, saw me running with the kids. And he called the waiter and said, look, everything on that table, I'm going to pay for it. And I was thinking, well, we should order some extra shakes and fries. That's redeeming. You own something. We own something. We are in trouble. What if people knew all your dark secrets? Oh, man. We own something. And then Christ come in the cross, open his arms, tell to the entire universe, yes, they will never able to afford this. They can steal every single dark secret that they have. I pay for it. I am redeeming these people.